Hello, just a quick introduction to put a face with the whole thing. My name is Mike. I'm going to work on this video series of this project that I picked up. It's a small sailboat and I gotta fix it up a little bit, neaten things up, and it gives me something to practice on. I get the basic concepts, but I need to, something I've been wanting to get into for a while. So, I'll show you where I'm starting and where things are at, and definitely any comments, suggestions, ideas, I'm open to all of it. Feel free to subscribe, comment. A lot of you are going to know a lot more than me. So this is what I got my hands on. Trailer included and everything. So to give you an idea, I'll give you the plate on it. So Schwill Yachts Day Sailer 16. And 16 feet. A bit of a cabin. I'll show you around a little bit of what I've checked out so far. So one of my biggest thoughts is this cabin area is by default wide open. I'm thinking I'm going to knock out the wood. The bottom left side here is completely rotted out. When I do get out there, I do like the idea of being able to have a little like a sleeping pad and a sleeping bag and relax. And once I have some experience, some day trips, maybe some overnight stops, stays, whatever, I could definitely drop an anchor and sleep like a baby. One of my ideas is have a tarp that I could throw over the boom, and not so much measured, but something that I can just secure to the sides, just to, if it rains, keep it out of the cabin. I am curious of some ideas of mosquito netting, or even some kind of canvas for like when I'm sailing, if I'm dealing with some rain, especially a tailwind. But it'd be nice to be able to keep my sleeping stuff dry. So I guess to start off, I've already started doing some things. So like I have the mast and the boom over here. I did take off, so I checked out the rigging. All the cables are good. The ropes were a little worn, but I think I got another year or so out of them. Definitely for learning on them, I'm good. The sails are in good shape. They're in the shed, unfortunately. What I'm not familiar with is, and this is not a very popular boat model from what I gathered. I looked on some forums and Facebook and whatever else. The connections for like the sails and stuff are, I think they're manufacturer specific. So to replace halyards and sheets and stuff, well, the jib sheet's no big deal, and the sheets are normal. The halyards are like a specific connector. If anybody knows anything about that stuff, let me know. If you know what they're called, I can look them up, you name it. Obviously could tie knots and use D-rings and snap shackles and things like that, but for my first couple of months of sorting things out, I'm just going to use the stuff that I already have. So, long story short, I've already rewired the lights on the trailer. It came with, I don't think they were submersible. Inexpensive, quick, easy thing. Trailer's registered as a home-built trailer. So, the only other little things I've done is I've rinsed it down a decent amount. I tried to take a look at this wood to see where things are at. I did find some spots in the weather stripping here. I filled it with some silicone, see if it keeps some of the water out. As far as the actual weather stripping, I don't know if any kind of oil or something might help that. I did check out the window. Looks like if I try the old toothpaste trick, that might become more like a window again. So the boat at some point did have an electrical system. Didn't come with a battery or battery box or anything, but I've got my running lights. Doesn't have an anchor light, but it does have your side lights and your rear white light. There is a mount for a small outboard. I did take the rudder apart and I started cleaning it up. It looks like somebody, one of the prior owners, they had done putty work, but then they like painted it with the putty, and I don't know, it really looked horrible. So I figured I can clean that up a bit. One of my little projects, I have ordered some white putty, and I'll sand that down a little more and get it a little cleaner. Yeah, no, everything seems to be in good enough shape to get started. My plans, and I mean, you can see there's room back here. There's a bilge pump. From what I've read online, if I understand correctly, when the boat's in the water tends to pool up here in the front of the cockpit. I currently have the boat sitting kind of weird in my yard because my yard is sloped the wrong way. If I go towards the driveway, I'm going to be nose down more than I want to be. So eventually, well, soon, I got to redo there's a setup that goes into the mast, the rudder connectors here. It just stands up and holds up the mast. You got the front of the trailer has its thing, and then it came with this. I'm gonna make another one, but this was connected here and held the mast up. I'm gonna probably make one that's a little taller, and part of my idea is to have a tarp approximately the length of the boat, maybe more like the length of the mast, that would cover up the boat, keep the leaves out, keep the rain out, especially if it's going to be slightly nose down. I might be able to keep it level or nose up. I just don't know for sure yet. But one of my thought processes is I may be looking to relocate the bilge pump to the front of the cockpit, or maybe an additional, I'm not sure. But I do need to get myself a battery box and a battery, and even the way this is set up now, this ridge here prevents the water from going all the way to the back. Again, anybody that's got experience with this model boat or anything might have some insight. I have also read, like, the thing where the water pulls up in the front. If I'm seeing a hole right there that needs to be addressed, but under the floor in there is, from what I gather, a lot of foam, and some people have had problems of that foam getting wet and moldy and destroyed. Now, if that fills with water, I think this boat would be not seaworthy. So I was gonna look into, there is an inspection hatch in there. Yeah, I'm gonna pull this off. This is what we're dealing with in here. So as far as the inspection port I did spray a little Flex Seal in the under seat compartment here. When I rinsed the boat out, this filled with water, and there were some holes in the front. I don't know what somebody had maybe attached in there, maybe had some hooks installed or something, and it looks like they tried to fiberglass it themselves. Not really sure. I don't need it to be completely dry. The other one seems to be completely dry, so I'm thinking when the time comes, this can be where my anchor and fenders and things that are going to get wet anyway go, and I'll figure out what to put in the other one. One of my ideas is maybe a larger like deck hatch installed in there, and then depending on the condition of the foam and stuff, push comes to shove, maybe another bilge pump. Again, anybody has some insight, feel free. So yeah, I did pull off that lid and looked in the inspection port, and it looked okay. It definitely wasn't full of water. I'm looking at some of the fiberglass work that was done there, and that's a little concerning. Yeah. So yeah, my guess is this, I don't know if this is just meant to be storage, but I've read online that tends to be a place where water collects if it does get in there. So I'll have to see how things go with this boat once I get it in the water and stuff. It's definitely not intended for very rough seas. It's meant to be a protected water boat. Now, I live in eastern Long Island, so this boat's gonna end up out in bays. I don't know if Long Island Sound would be safe. Definitely not the ocean. And you know what? Maybe it could handle it, but I don't have the experience for that. But yeah, it's going to be a learning process to figure out what this boat is and is not capable of. I'm kind of wondering, based on the front of that, I'm wondering if I can actually install a little anchor locker or something up there. Nah, you got that cleats there. I'm gonna need that. Yeah, so that's about where the project's at. Just recap some of the ideas. I think I'm just going to remove all this woodwork and leave that pretty wide open. If I do that, I definitely got to redo it if nothing else. If I do redo it, I was leaning towards maybe some kind of, plastic sheeting or something. I'd almost rather remove it and then be able to throw in, whether I find or make some kind of tarp type material, just to, like I said, keep rain out. But other than that, I'm gonna wrap this video up, and I'll keep you, I'll update as I get a few things done. Thank you.